Hello, and welcome to the Take Ownership Transform Your Life webinar. Whether you got here through a link on social media, through a referral from a friend, or through your own Google search, you are going to leave here with knowledge, tools and resources, and an offer of incredible support to help you to learn to take ownership of your life, start crushing your goals, and stop making New Year's resolutions year after year after year. I'm Mina Kilbride-Sheehan, and I help people to regain their energy, health, enthusiasm, and vitality by identifying and addressing the root causes making them sick, fat, depressed, and broke so they can win at life again and live their happiest, healthiest, most vibrant life. As I said, my name is Mina Kilbride-Sheehan. I'm a master's prepared nurse, and I have a wide range of experiences here. I started off as a nursing assistant in a nursing home, and I've gone all the way up to being a clinical nurse specialist in critical care and a nurse practitioner in cardiology. And I've done just about everything in between. I was also a speaker for a seminar company teaching nurses on the East Coast on cardiovascular surgery and teaching nurses in the Midwest on interpreting 12-lead EKGs, as well as lecturing and presenting my own quality improvement data on cardiac arrests at the Mayo Clinic Quest for Quality conference. I also taught pathophysiology and pharmacology at college to both nurses who were coming back for their bachelor's degrees and undergraduate nurses who were working towards their nursing degrees. So I have a wide range of experience. And that is me on the right. And Wonder Woman is on here, not because of all the wonderful things I've done as a nurse, but because of the wonderful things I did as a mom. 19 years ago, I was blessed with having my son after working 15 full-time years in healthcare. Please don't do the math. And I became a mom investigator. I had changes in my health based on things that I did for my son's health, and it sent me down a very new path. I also had a hidden illness with mold toxicity and didn't know about that for a long time. And so I know what it's like to have a silent disease. And then trauma, both physical trauma and emotional trauma of a very unhealthy marriage, but also several traumatic brain injuries between concussions and a car accident, concussions as a child. So I started to learn things when my son was born, and I continued to learn and learn and learn. And so I became a health coach, and I did it more informally with people in my neighborhood, friends, relatives, things like that. And then I realized that I wanted to add a new dimension. So I became a certified strategic intervention life coach. And now I am stepping into the role of entrepreneurship after going to New York and working in Chicago on the Rona front lines. So you can see I don't shy away from challenges. So I worked 4 months last year in New York City at the start of it all. And then I worked 2 months over the winter and 2 months in the summer in Chicago. So I have a lot of past experience, a lot of current experience, and a lot of experience coaching. The things that I said I was going to give you are knowledge. I'm going to give you a lot of knowledge on what creates health and what takes it away so that you can identify these things in your own life and put them to use and make changes today. I'll also give you some tools and resources, things that you can do right now that will help you to change things. And I'm going to give you an offer of incredible support. So stick with me to the very end. And stick with me to the very end because I have two very important messages after I give you that offer of incredible support. So I want to start off by asking you, what is health? And I'm just going to tell you that if you don't have a pencil and a paper, it might be a good time to stop the video and go and get it so that you can take some notes. And I'm going to cover some of this information very quickly because I want to focus on solutions. That's what I focus on, solutions, not problems. But if you don't understand that there is a problem, you won't know that there could be a solution for it. Many of us gradually get accustomed to slow degeneration of our lives and our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and financial lives. And our definition of normal changes. The baseline shifts in our definitions and expectations of health, of healthy abundance and vitality and joy shifts. And I'm here to let you know that that doesn't have to be the case. So let's start by talking about what is health. And think about it just for a moment. But most people define health usually as the absence of disease. I don't take any pills. I'm not sick. But health really is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. The World Health Organization, who I am not a fan of, gave this definition in 1948 when they gave their preamble to their Constitution. I take it a step further and I say health is a state of complete physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and financial well-being, and not merely the absence of disease, because I focus on your foundation of health, and that is your 6 pillars of health. That is the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, the social, and the financial. This is in a hexagon shape, and that's one of the strongest shapes in nature. And those 6 sides support each other very well. But when one of these pillars starts to crumble, if any of these others are weak, it's really hard to sustain that stability in your health. And so then your health and your life starts to crumble in upon itself. So knowing what creates health and what takes it away in all 6 pillars of health is very critical in order to understand how to maintain and attain and regain your health. So I want to ask you, what brought you here? As I said, you may have clicked, or someone may have sent this to you. Was it curiosity? If you clicked on it, I want to say that something is probably not right in your life or with your health, and you don't really know what it is. You just know it needs to change, and you're willing to do whatever it takes to change it. So now I want to ask you some questions, because sometimes we get used to the way things are in our lives and we start to tolerate less and less. And I want to ask you if this is normal for you. And so make a mental note. I'm going to go through several slides and see if any of these things are starting to become normal for you. You're not living the life you want to live anymore. You're not the mom, wife, daughter, sister, friend you want to be, or you're not the dad, husband, son, brother, friend you want to be. You don't know what to do or what even the next step is to get back on track. And your support network loves you just as you are and doesn't help you make the changes that you want to. It's very important to be loved as you are, but if you are being enabled in unhealthy behaviors, that's another story. So, and oftentimes our family want to love us as we are and don't see themselves as enabling us in behaviors that are not healthy for us. Or is this you? You're not in charge of your life anymore. Or this, you've gained weight and can't take it off. Eating less and exercising doesn't work anymore. The extra weight prevents you from activities you used to enjoy, and you don't go places anymore because nothing fits you and you don't feel attractive. You're ashamed of yourself and you're not fully present in your relationships. You're at a loss as to what to do to take it off and keep it off, and your support system, again, loves you just as you are or makes light of your weight gain. You feel that your weight, your feelings about yourself, and the constant struggle to lose it controls your life and not you. Or is this you? You feel anxious, stressed out, and forgetful. You can't remember where you put your car keys or your glasses or the grocery list. Anxiety, uneasiness, and uncertainty prevent you from doing what you want to do. Your relationships are suffering. You're not showing up in the roles in your life the way you want to be. You don't know what to do about it. Your family and friends don't know how to support you, and anxiety and fear control your life, not you. Or is this you? You feel tired all the time. No matter how much sleep you get, you can't shake that feeling of fatigue. You wake up tired, your energy crashes in the afternoon, and you go to bed tired. You can't do the things you enjoy in life anymore because you're too tired. You don't show up well in your relationships because you're always tired. You can't focus and have no idea what to do to make it better. The encouragement you need begins to fall flat as people in your life just begin to expect less and less of you. And fatigue controls your life, not you. Or is this you? A dark cloud seems to hang over you. I call it this pervasive feeling of sadness that even before this craziness happened in our world 2 years ago, I felt that sadness from many, many different people. You feel you're just going through the motions and life has lost its color. You see things in shades of gray rather than vibrant colors. You feel a dark cloud hanging over you and you don't do the things you love anymore. Your relationships suffer because you are not fully present any longer. You're not even fully present in your own life any longer. You can't begin to think of how to pull out. Your family and friends find it hard to encourage you because you just shut them out, and the dark cloud controls your life, not you. Or is this you? You keep adding to the never-ending array of symptoms. Chronic pain and discomfort have become the norm. It keeps getting worse, and the doctor says you're just getting older. I can tell you in my 20s, my knees used to pop going up the stairs. And sometimes it was really hard trying to stand up when I was sitting on the floor. And I will tell you that decades later, my knees don't pop when I go up the stairs anymore. And I have no problems getting up off the floor. It's hard to get out of bed in the morning, whether you're just emotionally tired and don't want to face the day, or you're physically in pain. You have trouble remembering things, schedules, car keys, purse, wallet. Your life lacks joy and purpose. Your relationships are suffering. You don't know what to do, and you want your life back. You may have tried everything, or you may feel you've tried everything. You've done doctor's visits, sought expert advice, sought counseling, looked at motivational books, memes, gone to motivational seminars. You've done constant YouTube or Facebook scrolling, Google searches. If you're trying to lose weight, you've done calorie counting and exercise program after exercise program. You've done every food plan under the sun. You've tried supplements A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on and so on. And you've taken action, gotten results, and things just went back to the same way that they've always been. So whether you've tried everything or whether you're just starting, don't be afraid to start or to start over again. You're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience, either life experience or the experience of trying things and not getting the results that you wanted. So just start. So I want to share with you my story. I want to talk to you about my why and the start of my true healing journey. And I want you to see if there's anything that resonates with you, if any of this parallels with your life. But this was the start of my true healing journey. I was always a research-based and holistic practitioner, and I observed healing and death as a nurse. It's just part of the job. But I didn't truly understand how all-encompassing healing was until 19 years ago when I became a mom. I made dietary changes for my son when he was an infant and he was nursing. And those subsequent changes I experienced in my own health were amazing. Gut issues that I had the majority of my adult life disappeared once I was able to fully eliminate the offending agent. I had irregular bowel habits, bloating, gas, severe cramping, and other things. Then months later, neurological issues that I'd had since my tween years, just before I turned a teen, began to dramatically disappear. This brain fog, this exhaustion lifted. It felt like a veil was being pulled away. And this brought me to a new level of research. Doctors didn't care about my symptoms because they didn't fit neatly into a disease category. I didn't have Crohn's, IBS, or irritable bowel. I didn't have brain cancer. It interfered with my life, but because I was successful and able to function, and I have functioned at a fairly high level, it didn't matter to them. It was acceptable that I just survived when I wanted to thrive. Does that sound like something that's happening to you? Do you just know that you can feel better and you just don't know what to do about it, and no one cares because there's no diagnosis that they can give you? But then I dove in head first. I made dramatic and enormous changes in my diet and other things. I developed my health philosophy in 2005 when my son was 3, and I helped whoever I could, but I didn't approach it as a business. So I dove headfirst with research and wondered why this information wasn't more readily available and why physicians didn't pay attention to it. But then, despite these dramatic improvements in my health, it began to deteriorate again. And has that ever happened to you? You've made great strides, and then all of a sudden, you've had this setback. What I didn't realize was that the house that I had built was slowly killing me and my son. The windows weren't sealed properly, and the water was intruding, and mold was hiding in my beautiful home. And my son was getting sick despite being healthier than all the other kids for the most part. My energy was slipping away, and I placed blame on my unhealthy marriage and the stress of managing this and managing my home by myself. And my son's dad worked out of state, he worked his own business out of state. And when my chiropractor suggested the possibility of mold when my son was about 7, I was shocked. And then I started connecting the dots when I noticed the dark spots on the wooden sills growing larger, and I saw my sill upstairs actually rotting. And so I began another journey and more research. And now I truly had to take this painful journey to my purpose. So this is what my face looked like when I was in mold: puffy, red, inflamed, rashes on my face that would come and they would go. And if you remember my picture from before, this is what I look like now. It is a dramatic difference. And so I used to have symptoms, cracking nails. I lost a nail, strange infections. I had a little infection right there around that ring finger, warts that just popped up, coating on my tongue. It's a little hard to see there, but then a geographic tongue where there are demarcations all along my tongue. No matter how much I brushed my tongue, no matter how much I scraped my tongue, it was always there. Dry, cracked feet, not due to lack of moisturizer, but all these symptoms just continued to escalate. And there were a few turning points that brought me to want to share my testimony. And some of these turning points started right here. This was about 3 weeks after my son had it wasn't an allergic reaction. He had some type of an immune reaction where his eyes were swollen for a week, practically swollen shut. So I went on an intense gut healing protocol for the both of us, even though we were still living in mold. And I knew it at that point. And you can see he lost a lot of inflammation in his face. And I don't have a before picture for this. I wasn't thinking about that. And you can see that he had swollen eyes and they had gone down quite a bit. And a lot of the swelling had gone down in my face, even though we were still in mold. So I realized the power of healing, even when you're still in a place that you know you need to get out of. I knew that we needed to get out of it, but I realized the power that our bodies have to heal. And so I hope that you can see that if you're having symptoms or something's going on in your life, that your body has that power to heal. So this was another turning point. This was about 6 months later. I knew we had to get out of that house. There was a lot of trauma along with this turning point, but this was a positive point for us because we needed to leave because that beautiful house was killing us. And then this was another turning point. About 7 weeks after we had left, where we were staying was very clean, but I knew that there was mold there. There had been water intrusion that was always cleaned up and taken care of, but nothing was ever pulled out. Like the flooring was never pulled out. And so I took this picture on August 9th. Thankfully we have cell phones and cameras that put dates with our pictures. But I took this picture because it felt like I was going to swallow my uvula, that little thing that hangs in the back of your throat. And you can see how red and inflamed my throat was. 5 days later, we went to spend the weekend with a friend so that the boys could play and I could visit with a friend while her husband was out of town. And after sleeping in the house one night, in her house, one night being away from mold, so being out of mold less than 24 hours, on my way to the chiropractor the next day, I realized that I could swallow. And when I stopped, I looked at my throat and I took a picture, and you can see that swelling went away in less than 24 hours. And there's still redness and inflammation. And I did not immediately get well after that because I still had to get a lot of these toxins out of my body. But that's when I knew that we couldn't go back. And it set us on quite an interesting journey for the next 13 months, but it was a journey that we needed to take. So I want to ask you guys, what is your why? What's your why? I want you to look at it with the curiosity of a child, with the adventurous spirit, and with enthusiasm. And I want you to jump into the rest of your life, because I'm going to ask you a question. Do you believe that the health of the world needs changing? And I believed this even before the past 2 years, because there seems to be a new normal going on here in America. 60% of adults are diagnosed with at least one chronic disease, and 40% of adults are diagnosed with 2 or more chronic diseases. And that gives us a staggering $3.8 trillion that we spend in healthcare. That is astonishing. And to me, that's not acceptable as the new normal. And this is another sad normal. Cancer. One person will die of cancer every 52 seconds, according to the 2019 Facts and Figures report from the American Cancer Society. This affects kids, this affects adults. This is a tragedy. Children are at risk also. Kids on the autism spectrum are rising, and by 2032, 1 out of every 2 children in the US will be on the spectrum. I don't think that that's acceptable. And diabetes in kids. 1 in every 3 children born after the year 2000 will develop diabetes in his or her lifetime. So you can see we're not only getting sicker and sicker as a country, we're getting sicker and sicker at younger and younger ages. These things are things that should happen to adults, not to children. So what is driving this? And basically everything boils down to the cells. It's cellular inflammation. It's been widely touted that inflammation is the basis of all disease because inflammation interferes with your cells from functioning the way that they should. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. But your cells are critically important and we can't see our cells, so sometimes we discount that. But when we see these physical symptoms, we should not ignore them, even if they don't fit into a disease category from your doctor. So let's talk a little bit more about inflammation. I'm going to use a bucket analogy. Imagine that your cells are a bucket. Is your bucket overflowing? When trauma, infections, and toxins fill up your cells get swollen and inflamed, and it can cause these symptoms: high and low blood pressure, digestive problems, weight loss resistance, inability to handle stress, exertional malaise, dizziness, brain fog, temperature dysregulation, muscle and joint pain, depression and mood changes, trouble sleeping, hormone dysregulations, headaches, and fatigue. I've had all of those things, and I'm imagining that you guys can see some of your symptoms in there also. So why the inflammation? There are 4 major reasons, and I'm going to talk about them in a little more detail. But the first is allostatic load, and that's just a fancy name for chronic stress. From now on, I'm going to refer to it as stress. But your allostatic load is the physiological consequences of that chronic prolonged stress. It's that oxidative stress. If you look at an apple when it sits in the air and it's exposed to air, when you peel it or take a bite out of it, it starts to turn brown and oxidize. Chronic stress makes our cells oxidize also. So it's not healthy. It causes imbalances in all 6 pillars of health: the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and financial. Stress affects every area. And so therefore it's a disease of lifestyle. That's the good news, is you can do something about it. The second reason is something called metabolic chaos. It comes from hidden symptoms and it causes hidden problems. And it often is a result of trauma. And trauma, whether it is physical, emotional, mental, it still has the same effect on our cells. And trauma that is unresolved causes a 400% increase in depression, anxiety, and it can cause up to a 20% reduction in your lifespan if it is unresolved. So trauma is something that you can't ignore. I'm actually taking a trauma course in December, and I'm incorporating that into all of my coaching programs because it's that important. And then gut dysbiosis, an imbalance of the good and bad bacteria in your gut. We'll talk about that more. And then toxins. We are really going to focus on this because we are, as people living in America, we are exposed to over 100,000 toxins a day, whether it's in our personal care products. But that is astounding. That's astounding. So let's go back and talk about each of these causes. Let's talk about stress first, that allostatic load. Stress is a balancing act between health and sickness, between young and new cells and old and tired cells. So it's this very, very much this balancing act. You can't get out of life without stress because everything causes us to adjust and adapt, even if it's good. And this is one I love, Maxine. She says, my doctor asked if I've ever had a stress test. I said, sure, it's called life. And it is. We can't get out of life without stress. And stress is actually healthy. Stress is a normal physiologic process, and it causes secretions of hormones in our body. And those hormones are designed to enhance our body's reaction to create balance. That balance has a fancy term called homeostasis. Good stress is called eustress, and that's if you get married, you get a new job, a promotion, you have a baby, those kinds of things. Those things are wonderful things in our lives, but they do cause an adaptation. We have to adjust to those changes. Bad stress is distress. And many factors influence both the stressors that are coming at us and our response to stressors. And dis-ease or distress results if those cellular imbalances are not corrected. So disease is a dis-ease. It's a lack of ease in the body, and it all starts at the cellular level. So with metabolic chaos. Metabolic chaos is a state of health existing because of individual metabolic complexities and underestimated influences from the environment. So your metabolism is different from mine. My metabolism is different now than it was 5 years ago, and that it will be in the next 5 years. And we often underestimate influences from our environment. And the number one influence from our environment are toxins. And Reed Davis, who's a nutritionist, coined this term and gave this definition. And when metabolic chaos happens, the correlation between symptoms and cause becomes unpredictable. So that's why it is even more important to address all 6 pillars of health simultaneously. So I told you it from hidden stressors, and those stressors are in each of the 6 pillars of health: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, financial. So you can see stressors in all of those areas. And then toxins affect all of those areas also. So toxins are often very hidden stressors because we don't see them, just like I didn't see the mold in my house right away. And when I did see it, I discounted it. I didn't really understand how serious and significant that was, even though I was being told that it was serious and significant. So metabolic chaos also causes hidden problems. And if you remember the acronym HIDDEN, you'll remember the problems that it causes. H is for hormones. It can be problems with your sex hormones, your thyroid hormones, your stress hormones, your hunger hormones, all of those hormones, your thyroid hormones. I think I already said that. I is for your immune system. It can cause an underactive immune system, which leads to cancer because your immune system differentiates between self and non-self. And when something comes into the body that's foreign, your immune system should get rid of it. So it can be an underactive immune system. It can be an overactive immune system where your immune system is attacking normal things. And that's basically when you have allergic type of reactions. Or it can be an inappropriate response of your immune system where your immune system is actually attacking self and you have autoimmune diseases. The first D is for digestion, that gut-brain axis. That gut is yours. The gut is the seat of your immune system. The gut is also your second brain. So digestion is very important. It can cause a problem not only in digestion, but in detoxification, meaning that our bodies are going to be less able to handle and get rid of toxins out of our bodies. E is for energy production. Our cells produce their own energy. And if they're not able to produce the right amount of energy, then our cells can't do what they're designed to do. And N is for your nervous system. So it can be a diagnosable disease. It can be problems with your brain with manic depressive, schizophrenia, or it can just be depression, anxiety, brain fog, exhaustion, those types of things. So the third reason is gut dysbiosis. And you're not going to have to remember everything on this slide. It's just a good illustration. If you look, this is the healthy microbiome. This is microbial dysbiosis. This is gut dysbiosis. These are good bacteria. You don't have to remember these bad bacteria. The good bacteria increase all these good things and decrease this one bad things, this lipopolysaccharides. And then microbial dysbiosis causes these things to be decreased, and they need to be healthy and stable, especially this cellular, this epithelial layer, this permeability that goes into your bloodstream. You want these cells to be nice and close together, not wide like this, because then things get through that shouldn't get through and into your bloodstream. And so let's go back. So you can get all of these bad things that are happening. When you have a healthy microbiome, you have your immune system very much in balance. But when you don't have a healthy microbiome, you have an immune system that is causing inflammation, that is causing inappropriate immune response. 7 signs that your gut bacteria is out of balance. And I'll go over these fairly quickly, but number 1 are digestive issues, any type of digestive issues. Mental issues, brain fog, can't think clearly, anxiety, depression. Vitamin and mineral deficiencies can be a sign that your gut bacteria is out of balance. And that's not something that you can see unless you do a lab test, but your gut bacteria is critical in synthesizing certain vitamins. So it's very important that your gut bacteria be in good balance. Overuse of antibiotics. If you take 2 courses of antibiotics within a year, within the following 12 months, you have a 50% increase in depression. So the antibiotics also kill the good bacteria in your gut. Chronic unmanaged stress can be a sign that your gut bacteria is out of balance. Skin problems, acne, eczema, psoriasis, rashes. Your skin is an organ of detoxification. And if your body's not handling detoxification properly through your gut, your liver, etc., it's going to come through your skin. And then full-blown autoimmune diseases are definitely a sign that your gut bacteria is out of balance. So I want to talk to you about toxins. That's the fourth cause, because toxins are destroying our world. They're destroying our health, and they're destroying the health of our children, and therefore they are destroying our future. And they're destroying the health of our children from the womb to the tomb, because the Environmental Working Group, EWG, did a cord blood study of newborns, testing a newborn's umbilical cord, where they're connected to their mother. And they tested 413 toxic chemicals. And like I said, we are exposed to over 100,000. So this is a very small amount of chemicals in the study. And the most found in a single baby was 287, coming out of the pure environment of his mom's womb, or her mom's womb. And an average of 200 toxins were found per baby, and 180 of those chemicals are known to cause cancer. So is it any surprise that cancer rates in children have risen 67.1% since 1950? And the Columbia University School of Public Health says 95% of all cancers are caused by diet and the environment. Not a surprise to me. So I'm going to talk about three major hidden toxins that are hard to see and recognize them in our lives, that are at the root of most diseases. And these chemical toxins are just as important, but these are toxins that don't like to come out of our bodies once they get in our bodies. And the first one is heavy metals. It can be from amalgam fillings. It can be from vaccines. It can be from personal care products. It can be transmitted from mom to baby in utero, in mom's uterus. And you can be exposed at home, work, or school. Mold and biotoxins are the second. And you can be, again, exposed at home, work, or school. Hidden infections that could be Lyme disease or other co-infections. It could be from root canals and cavitations or other pathogens. And an important fact to remember about this is that glyphosate, which is in Roundup, magnifies the effects of all these toxins above, and our growing children are especially affected. Glyphosate is not used in residential, but it is still used in commercial agriculture. So we can't spray it on our lawns, but we can put it on our food. So let's talk about glyphosate for a moment and talk about dementia and glyphosate, because dementia is a very new problem for us. Not an exponentially new problem. If you look at this chart, is it coincidence or not? I don't know. This is deaths per 100,000, and these are the years. So this is getting closer and closer to us. And the last data here is from about 2009. But glyphosate is sprayed on corn and soy. And the deaths per 100,000 have increased as the glyphosate spraying has increased. The red line is the glyphosate spraying, and per 1,000 tons. And look at how the graph of dementia has followed. Coincidence or not? Dementia and heavy metals. Heavy metals drive brain inflammation. Heavy metals also trigger genes that are associated with Alzheimer's and dementia. And this is a problem for us. I know so many people affected by Alzheimer's and dementia. And heavy metals kill the bacteria needed for critical neurotransmitters. Our serotonin is our feel-good chemical, and that is produced in the gut. 95% of it is produced in the gut. So let's talk about three metals in particular. And the first I'll talk about is mercury. And mercury is in those silver dental amalgams. And those dental amalgams have been used over 150 years, and they contain about 50% metallic mercury. It's continually released from the dental amalgam and absorbed by several body tissues. It's accepted that the main source of mercury vapor is dental amalgam, and it contributes substantially to mercury load in human body tissues. The Federation of the American Societies of Experimental Biology study indicates that more amalgam fillings in your mouth creates more mercury in your organs. That includes your brain, your kidneys, your liver, and your heart. Not a surprise. This is insulting our intelligence too. Scrap dental amalgam material has been declared hazardous waste by the EPA in 1988, which means that at a dentist office, that any scrap left over or taken out of your mouth, dental amalgams, are not allowed to be thrown in the regular trash. They have to be thrown in a special hazardous waste trash, and the facility has to pay extra for that kind of a disposal. The OSHA guidelines for handling scrap dental amalgam include that it must be stored in an unbreakable, tight sealed container from heat, no touch technique when you're handling the amalgam, and it's stored under liquid, preferably glycerin or photographic fixer solution. Doesn't sound like something that I want in my mouth. It's safe when it's in our mouth, but before and after it's in our mouth, it is considered hazardous. Mercury has been banned in the European Union for use in children under 15 and for pregnant or nursing women starting July 1st of 2018. So that's quite a difference between them and us. This is just a list of mercury toxicity symptoms. So you can screenshot this if you'd like. I won't go over it, but these symptoms can be very silent. Silent's not the right word. These symptoms can mimic other things. So it's very difficult to see where they come from unless you're looking specifically at the possibility of a mercury toxicity. So that's very interesting. Aluminum. Aluminum is present in cookware, not all cookware. I use stainless steel cookware. And when you cook in aluminum cookware and you use something that is acidic, like a tomato sauce, it leaches more aluminum out into your food. Aluminum foil is another source. Soda cans, it's in food, it's in baking powders, and it's in drying agents. It can be leached into our water source or left over from the alum feeding from municipalities when they treat the water with alum. And it can be present in antiperspirants. It usually is present in antiperspirants. So that's aluminum is something that we want to stay away from. It is present and implicated in brains of Alzheimer's patients, and it's not something that we want in our bodies. This is an example of how toxins are passed from mom to baby. This is a mom's heavy metal test, and you can see right here that the mom's lead is off the charts. And the second highest is right here, and that is nickel. And that's really all you need to understand about these tests. And then her son had testing also. And you can see the one that's off the charts for her son is lead. And the second highest is nickel. No surprise, it's passed from mom to baby. So speaking of lead, we'll talk about lead right now. And recently, a settlement happened in the Flint, Michigan case, and that was a very dramatic case. And Flint, Michigan switched their water supply in 2014 from a lake, Lake Huron, to the Flint River. And unfortunately, they didn't change their water treatment protocols because it's very different from a lake to a river, and lead started to leach from the pipes. And it wasn't just Flint, Michigan, it was across all 50 states, and some places had higher lead levels than Flint, Michigan. And just this month, November 2021, Flint, Michigan had a settlement of $623 million from the state of Michigan regarding that case. Now, some people wonder, well, what happens? Why is this a problem if it's not just in our water supply? But your bones hold lead. Your bones hold lead in them, they store it. And the Journal of Environmental Health did a study of women between 65 and 87, and they studied women with high lead levels, and they were 60% more likely to die during the 12-year study than women who did not have high lead levels. As people age, we hear about osteoporosis and decreased bone density all the time. Your bone tissues start to release their contents, and any lead that is stored in your bone gets released, and that leads to heart disease, high blood pressure, strokes, and weight gain. So oftentimes when our bone density starts to decrease, we can have severe toxicity issues that start to develop because our bone tissues are releasing those stored toxins, specifically lead. Lead is also present in cosmetics, ladies. And Good Morning America did an expose in 2007 called Toxic Beauty, and most lipsticks contain lead. It is a contaminant. It is not a natural ingredient. It's a contaminant mostly of the darker red lipsticks. And FDA.gov still reports lead in lipsticks. And we still have other ingredients that we have to be worried about also. And so you can go to www.environmentalworkingroup.ewg.org/skin deep, and you can see their database on what is in the different manufacturers' products. So now let's talk about what creates health and what takes it away. I've talked about all this doom and gloom, but now it's time to talk about the things that we can do. What creates health for us? Remember, owner. Those are the things that create health. And ship creates our vitality and how we navigate into this world. O stands for oxygen, good, pure air. It's not 100% oxygen that we need. It's only about 21% oxygen at room air, but we need a good, clean source of air. Most of our air is polluted, and we know that, but did you know that indoor air is 100 times more polluted than outdoor air because of the chemical cleaners that we use and because of the building products and the furniture products that we put in it? Interesting fact. Water, we need a good pure source of water. We put chlorine in our water in order to get rid of bacteria, viruses, and fungi, which is very important, but we never filter it out. And there are other things that can wind up in our water, like I talked about the alum feeding, and you can, with residual alum in your water, you can get excess levels of aluminum. So know what your water report is and check with your city or your township. N is for nutrients and nutrition. You want to not just consider your macronutrients like your proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, but you want to consider your micronutrients too. So the fresher the foods you eat, the better. E is for energy expenditure. It's not just exercise, it's how you carry yourself in this world. Do you carry yourself with confidence, with energy? Do you move through the day easily? And then do you also expend energy through exercise? It doesn't have to be 30 to 60 minutes of cardio. It can be high intensity interval or burst training. There are many different ways to meet your energy requirements. R is for restoration, and it's obviously rest, and sleep is vitally important. And when we get sleep, we should get 6 to 8 hours of sleep, and we should get to bed at the same time each day. And that way our circadian rhythm, our biological 24-hour clock, gets reset the same way every day. And we can get that solid sleep hour, those solid sleep hours, and our sleep will cycle between deep sleep and dream sleep because our body restores itself different ways between each of those sleep episodes. Restoration also stands for how we do recreation. Do you do something every day that brings you joy? Are you recreating yourself every day? Recreation is recreating yourself. Are you doing something like that? Are you taking vacations on a regular basis to get away? Are you just doing something each and every day also to actually help to restore and recreate yourself? All right, so those are the things that we need. We need rest, energy expenditure, nutrients, water, and oxygen. And the ship part is how we are sailing into the rest of our life. And the S marries up with the I, and the S stands for two things. It stands for stillness and silence, and support and social. We need to take that quiet time so that we can pay attention to what we are paying attention to. And in that silence, we often find that our thoughts can sometimes be very voluminous, that our mind doesn't shut off. But if we stay still long enough, we are going to find the truth. In silence, you will always find truth. We're often uncomfortable with silence because we know that if we're silent long enough, we will find that truth. And then support and social. Do you have different support networks to support you in different ways? And are you a part of those networks and participating in supporting others in those ways also? Whether it's just to have fun, a shoulder to lean on, someone to go do fun, crazy things with, those kinds of things. The H is for hazards, hindrances, and hardships. Those are the things that come into our lives that can be very difficult. Hazards can be those toxins, those chemicals that we're exposed to every day. Hindrances and hardships can be disease, death, disaster, those things that we can't control that come into our lives that cause us to adjust. The I, the inspiration, pairs up with the silence and stillness because often in silence, we find that inspiration, but make sure that you're doing things each and every day to inspire yourself, surrounding yourself with positive thoughts, positive sounds, positive sights, and things like that. interpersonal and intrapersonal. What are your relationships like with other people? Not just who do you rely on for support, but what are your relationships with your children, with your spouse, with your friends, with your coworkers? And what is your relationship with yourself? That's important. P also stands for prosperity, and it also stands for pollution removal. Prosperity is important because without prosperity in your life, you're not going to find that joy that you might find otherwise. Prosperity doesn't just stand for financial wealth. It stands for wealth, but you need to have a wealth of beautiful experiences, a wealth of relationships, a wealth of peace in your heart, of joy, of love. So prosperity and wealth also tie into that. P also stands for pollution removal and getting rid of those toxins, those hazards, and dealing with those hindrances and hardships. So when you look at pollution removal, you look at not putting toxins into your body, putting good stuff into and on your body. I feel very strongly about chiropractic and removing the interference from your brain to the rest of your body, especially with our modern lifestyles. And then everything boils down to the cell and cellular healing. So we want to look at the cells and heal the cells. So as I just said, everything boils down to the cell. Let me give you a quick little science lesson, and this will be very short. We've already talked about it, but the cell has a membrane around it. It's like walls and doors. It keeps good things in and bad things out. And it lets good things get into the cell, and it lets waste products get out of the cell. If toxins somehow get in, which hopefully the doors and the windows prevent that, then hopefully your cell can take care of it and get rid of it. Let me go back. And so your mitochondria are your energy producing organ. They're called organelles, your energy producing areas of your cell. And if your mitochondria are damaged and not producing enough energy, then things are not going to work properly. So that's your little quick primer on the cell. So now what? All this doom and gloom, and then you know what takes health, what creates health, and what takes it away. So now what? Educate yourself and continue to educate yourself, and make a plan and start making changes. Prioritize your plan. Get the tools and resources that you need and find a support system. Get a family member or a friend to make some changes with you, and recruit additional help as needed, whether it's a counselor, a coach, whatever. And I can help you. I'm going to start by telling you some changes that you can make in 3 areas of your life. So stick with me here. When you're looking at food, what are some changes that you can make? Well, one, you want to make sure that your food is nutrient dense. Things in boxes and cans are not so nutrient dense. Fruits, vegetables, sustainably raised meats and eggs, those are nutrient dense. Read your labels. Are the ingredients pronounceable? Are they identifiable as real food? Do they have a lot of sugars? Do they have any trans fats in them? Change your oils. I'm not pro low fat. You want good quality fats though. Extra virgin coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, grass-fed butter. Stay away from the seed oils and the polyunsaturated fatty acids. Stay away from corn, stay away from canola, stay away from sunflower, safflower, rapeseed oil, all of that stuff. Stay away from those. And then ditch the sugar. And an easy way to do that is if you drink sugary drinks, don't drink your sugar. But do not substitute it with artificial sweeteners, because those are carcinogens and those are neurotoxic. Make sure you're drinking healthy beverages, and the most healthy beverage you can drink is water. Make dinner and make meal plans. Make 1 extra dinner a week, and then double or triple it and put it in the freezer in portion-sized containers so that you can pull it out the next time you're running short on time and need to cook a good meal. Batch cook on a certain day and put things in the refrigerator or the freezer so that you've got healthy things during the week. So those are some changes you can make with food. Some changes you can make in your environment are, 1, you can go organic outside if you have your own house and you do your own lawn care. And then the number way to decrease toxins inside your house is to take your shoes off at the door. And it's important, as I talked earlier about indoor air pollution, to use green cleaning. You want to either make your own stuff or buy green cleaning products. And then this is one thing we don't think of all the time: electromagnetic fields. They're everywhere. And these are some sources of electromagnetic fields. This picture right down here doesn't do it justice. It should look like a blanket over everything. But try to do media-free days or media-free nights. Try turning your Wi-Fi off at night. Even though you're exposed to everyone else's Wi-Fi, you're at least not exposed to the one that's nearest to you. And then make sure that you're looking into all the different sources of EMFs in your house and blocking them whenever you can. And you can even look into purchasing an EMF blocker. All right, some personal changes that you can make in your life. First thing you can do is work on your vision and your mindset. Pay attention to what you pay attention to. I said that earlier when I was talking about stillness and silence. Try to take a few minutes at the beginning of every day to be mindful and quiet. You can close your eyes and just focus on your breath and notice your thoughts. Whatever pops up, just let it go and go back to your breath, even if you have to do that 100 times a minute. And I encourage people to take a journal out, and even if you could only write 1 or 2 sentences down, do that. Write in your journal. Another thing is to change your personal care products. Either make them or buy them. Soaps, deodorants. Don't use antiperspirants because it's not normal to block your perspiration. Often they use aluminum compounds to block your pores. Toothpaste, cosmetics, those types of things. Start making changes in those areas of your life. So maybe you've already made changes and you're still struggling with some things. You might still be struggling with weight gain and weight loss resistance, or poor sleep and fatigue, stress and anxiety, brain fog and memory issues, unexplained inconvenient aches and pains, hormonal imbalances, or symptoms that the doctor doesn't know what to do about. Well, these changes may not be enough. So what can you do? Well, let's talk detox. But first, let's talk about what detox is not. It is not a cleanse. Cleanses are good and cleanses are beneficial if they're good products to clean out your downstream pathways. A colon cleanse, a liver cleanse, those types of things can be very beneficial and healthy. And you may feel better after that because then your body is getting rid of any new toxins much easier, but you're not detoxing your cells. You're only opening up your pathways for those toxins to go out, but you can't pull those toxins deep from your cells. Cilantro and chlorella were very popular detoxes. And believe me, I spent a lot of money on those too, but they are not effective detox agents. Citrus pectin is not a true binder. Glutathione is wonderful. It protects your cell and your brain, but it's not great for heavy metals. It is your master antioxidant, glutathione, but it is not a detox. And then liquid and powdered zeolites, a lot of people turn to those for binders. So if none of those are the answer, then what is real detox? Well, real detox is true cellular detox. And basically, the easy way to say it is it's getting the trash and toxins out of the cells. There are 3 components to true cellular detox. And the first is to address the 5 R's. The first one is to remove the source of the toxin. And sometimes it takes a little investigative work and coaching to find all the sources of the toxins. R2 is to regenerate the cell membrane. You want to fix those walls and doors so that the right things go in and the right things come out. R3 is to restore your cellular energy, to fix those mitochondria so that your cells are making enough energy to do the things they need to do. The 4th is to reduce cellular inflammation. You want to reduce that toxic load on that bucket and that spillover. And then you want to reestablish methylation, and methylation are your detoxification pathways. So the second component of true cellular detox is to open and support those detox pathways, the lymph, the kidneys, the liver, the gut. Your kidneys and your gut dump into the toilet. You want to get those toxins in the toilet. Your liver dumps everything into your gut. Your liver is great at filtering your blood. Your kidneys filter metabolites and toxic metabolites out of your bloodstream. So open and support those detox pathways. And then you want to use true binders to remove those toxins, something that's going to hold on to those toxins until they get excreted in the toilet. Otherwise, they'll get absorbed back into your body, in your gut, and you're going to have just as bad of, or maybe even a worse problem than before if they go to different areas and cause different problems. So those are the 3 components. The 3 phases of true cellular detox start off with the prep phase. It prepares the cellular and downstream detox pathways. So you usually start to feel a lot better during this prep phase. And then the body phase starts to pull from the cells, pull toxins from the cells so that later we can pull from the deeper tissues. So you might be a little more tired during this phase because your body's doing a lot more work. Then the brain phase is really where the magic happens. You start to pull metals from deeper stores in your organs. And there are things in here that cross your blood-brain barrier so that you can get things out of your brain. Because until you detox and clean your brain and get rid of brain inflammation, you won't fully heal. So this is an example of the supplements that are used during these phases. They come in boxes. These are 30-day supplies. They're very easy to take. There are little bands on the front here that you can rip these off and you pull packets out. You pull a morning packet and an evening packet. And down here, there's morning, evening, and nighttime. There's morning and evening. And then there's these test kits. And these test kits test for something called malondialdehyde. And that is a marker for oxidative stress. I talked about oxidative stress a little earlier. That's when we bite into an apple and it starts to brown. And that's what happens to our cells as the result of chronic stress. And so when we have these toxins building this stress in our bodies, this will be high. And this actually tests the presence and how much of it is in there. So let's talk about turning points to transformation, because you have it in you. You have the power of transformation within you. This little caterpillar has the power of transformation in him. And it goes and it rests in this little chrysalis. When it sheds that skin, this is immediately underneath it. You have your transformation inside of you. And before it's ready to come out, it turns clear and you can start to see some of those transformations, but things are still pretty quiet. So what are your turning points to transformation? It's time that you start taking ownership of your health and your life. And so what are you going to do now? What are you going to do now? I want to let you know that I can help you. And if you'll stick with me and bear with me through this, I can show you how I can give you an incredible amount of support and give you the knowledge and tools and resources that you need to start making the changes that you crave and you deserve. The True Cellular Detox Program is put together by Dr. Dan Pompa, and he has been doing this for years. It is a phenomenal program. I've gone through it. I still have some more detoxing to do once I get my fillings out, because you have to remove the source of toxicity in order to fully heal. So I'm still going through it. But this True Cellular Detox Program is really amazing. And I'm going to share it with you in a little more detail. But I want to let you know that I'm giving you a major bonus with this. I'm including my 90-day coaching program. And that in itself carries benefits and bonuses. And then there's an additional bonus that I want to talk to you about. So let me tell you about the True Cellular Detox Program and what it includes. It includes an access to a client portal, and it is put together very nicely by Revelation Health. And you get comprehensive education. You also get webinars through there. They've put their program together in many ways that I've put my basic coaching program together. There's a patient portal there, and you have a personal journal area to track your results. And there's a community support area so that you get support all of the time with people who are going on the same journey as you, in addition to getting support from me. There's also 3-pronged testing. Prior to and at the end of each phase, you can take a neurotoxic questionnaire, which you score against yourself. It helps to figure out whether you have problems with mold, with metals, with general toxins. And you take a visual contrast sensitivity test online, and those you score against yourself. I talked to you a little bit earlier about the meta-oxy test. It tests malondialdehyde, which is an oxidative compound that's released in your urine. And so you can see how it reacts to the reagent, and you can tell how much oxidative stress you have in your body. You also get 3 months of supplements. You get 1 box for each phase, and you get instructions on coaching in each, both from me and through this awesome client portal that is part of True Cellular Detox. So what are my bonuses that are included with this basic TCD program? Well, I give you 3 additional hours of one-on-one coaching, 1 hour prior to the start of the program, going over your test results, investigating areas that you might need to dig a little deeper with your 5 Rs. And then I give you 2 half-hour sessions at the end of the prep and the body phases, and then 1 hour at the conclusion of the brain phase. So at the end of it. So you get 3 additional hours of one-on-one coaching. And then a major additional bonus, like I said earlier, is that you get my 90-day coaching program. And what comes with my 90-day coaching program is complimentary lifetime access to my membership portal, which is like getting my coaching program forever and ever and ever, and at no additional charge. So that's the True Cellular Detox Program. So what is this 90-day Take Ownership Transformational Coaching Program? Well, let me tell you, I'm going to give you 3 things. Knowledge. You're going to get weekly bite-sized videos on demand on all 6 pillars, and you work at your own pace. And they're very short videos. They're 2 to 5 minutes so that it won't take a lot of your day, and you can take them at your convenience. There are tiered implementation steps. So I might give you an easy way to implement or a little more complicated way to implement it if you've been making changes already. You get monthly seminars with me and with a guest speaker. They're pre-recorded, and you never lose access to anything, nothing. I also give you tools and resources which are downloadables to support the videos of the week. They can be audios, PDFs, and instructional videos. These are educational videos up here, and these might be instructional videos. For example, if I'm telling you how to cook a chicken, I might show you a video on cooking a chicken or cutting up a chicken. So those are instructional videos over here. I'm also going to give you a level of incredible support that is unheard of. You'll get 2 weekly live group coaching sessions, and they will be recorded and available on replay so that you can listen to them later if you can't make them live. And you'll have a community forum to support each other and also have access to me. And then my personal bonuses are that I'm going to give you 3 complimentary one-on-one hour-long sessions. And so that's in addition to the TCD sessions. So 1 each month of the program. So you're going to get that personal bonus. So if you're taking the TCD program, that's 6 extra one-on-one hour-long coaching sessions. And you get complimentary lifetime access to my monthly membership site where I'll be releasing classes, ebooks, things like that. Next year, I've got slated to do my Real Food Kitchen Transition course, the Kids in the Kitchen course. There are a lot of different things. And the great thing is that you're getting in on my launch, so you can start suggesting things that you want to see in the membership site. So that's another additional bonus that's really invaluable that's not listed on here. So now there's another bonus. It's a huge bonus with the True Cellular Detox Program. And if you sign up and you're one of the first 20 people, you are going to receive 1 full year of weekly one-on-one coaching sessions. So in addition to those other 6 sessions, you're going to get 52 sessions throughout 2022. That's 52 total sessions. That's an unbelievable value. And the thing of it is, there'll be 1-hour sessions, but all these bonus coaching sessions are transferable. You might not want or need 52 coaching sessions in a year, 1 every week. No other coach does this. I guarantee that this level of support is not available anywhere else. And if 100 people sign up by December 1st, so I'm going to be promoting this these next several days, everyone will get a Christmas gift box mailed to their home with products that will help you on this journey. Incredible bonus. So obviously, I need this, you need this, but how much does it cost? Well, stick with me now. The retail cost of the True Cellular Detox Program is $29.97. But let's talk about the value of the program. The basic TCD program is about $3,000. One-on-one bonus coaching is that I'm giving you is $3,000. So that's my bonus coaching for the TCD program. The 90-day Take Ownership Program is only $500. And if I delineated the value in this, this would be worth a lot more than $500. And my bonus coaching for the Take Ownership Program is another $3,000 because you get 3 more hours. So that is about $10,000 in value for this program. And if you're one of the first 20, you get an additional 52 coaching sessions. So that's $62,000 in value that you're receiving with this program. So I said that it's $29.97, but you are not going to pay that. You are only going to pay $14.97 for all of that support. And people have asked me this. One last question is why? Why would you offer your True Cellular Detox and the coaching bonuses at such a low price? And I want to tell you that this is why. When I realized in that house that had mold, that beautiful house that I didn't want to let go of, and I didn't want to make someone else's problem, that house that was practically killing us. And I realized that I could heal my gut even in that situation. I knew that our bodies are so strong and resilient. And I want to help other people to get to that level where they live their healthiest, happiest, most vibrant lives. So if you want to sign up for the TCD program, go to bit.ly/TCD Nina. It's case sensitive, so make sure you capitalize these letters here. Screenshot this if you need to. And if you just want to sign up for the basic coaching program, you can go to this link. This is also case sensitive. So I said I was going to leave you with 2 important takeaways. And the first one is this, that your most valuable asset is you. Don't ever forget that. You are valuable, you are worth it. And if your life is not on the track that you want it to be, you need to get it on that track now. Most people wait 8 years after realizing they have a problem to make a change. And I'm going to tell you that I'm one of those people. I was trying to make a change, but I didn't have the support that I needed. And that's what I'm building into this program for you, the support that you need. So your most valuable asset is you and your attitude, because life is only about 10% of what happens to us and 90% of how we respond to it. So remember, your story is powerful. Your story is your superpower, and your story is not over. No matter what chapter you're on right now, remember that and ask yourself, how do you want it to end? How do you want it to end? It is time to take ownership and transform your health and your life. Put these tools in your toolbox and start making the changes that you need to make. Stop making New Year's resolutions and start setting goals and crushing them. Start winning at your life. And this is where I started 19 years ago, transformed my life. And I have a beautiful young 19-year-old man that I am thrilled that he is happy, healthy, and vibrant. And so I'm doing this not just for him, but for every mom, dad, brother, sister, daughter, and friend, so that you can live your best life ever. So I wish you the best. I wish you the healthiest, happiest, most vibrant life ever. And I look forward to working with you on the other side.